Ever since the third generation of Pokemon was released back in 2002, Pokemon abilities have become the cornerstone of the franchise. With each and every new generation, a plethora of new abilities is introduced, therefore adding layers of strategy and excitement to the game. These abilities can range anywhere from stat boosting abilities, abilities that allow you to change form, or even abilities that hinder the opponent. Some abilities are straightforward, while some others are a little more complex. So that's why today I'll be diving into the world of Pokemon abilities, and I'll be explaining each of the 310 abilities in detail. Whether you're a seasoned Pokemon trainer or just starting out on your journey, there's always something new to learn about Pokemon abilities. And from recording this video, I certainly learned something new. So hopefully in this video, you'll learn something you didn't know about Pokemon abilities. The Unnerve ability makes it so that the opposing Pokemon can't consume berries, while Gluttony allows the user to eat berries earlier than normal, but Harvest allows for the creation of another berry after one is already used. Ripen, which is exclusive to the Applin line, doubles the effects of berries. Then you have Cud Chew, which allows for berry regeneration. Ball Fetch is a signature ability of Yamper that allows the retrieval of a failed Pokeball. Pokemon with the Klutz ability just are unable to hold an item, while Magician allows the user to steal the held item of a target Pokemon. Finally, Unburden raises a Pokemon's speed after an item is used up. Runaway enables a sure getaway from wild Pokemon, while the signature abilities for Wimpod and Golisopod, Wimpow and Emergency Exit respectively, force a switch when their HP drops below half. Pickup allows any Pokemon with this ability to pick up items both in and out of battle. Honey Gather, on the other hand, allows Pokemon with this ability to find and pick up honey after the battle. Quick Draw occasionally enables a Pokemon with this ability to move first. Gale Wings allows any member of the Fletchling line to gain priority on all flying type attacks. However, in Generation 7, they nerfed this ability with the addition that their HP has to be full. Triage works similarly because all of Confei's healing moves are now priority. Meanwhile, Prankster just gives priority to all status moves. Aerialate and Galvanize are both abilities that turn normal type attacks into flying and electric respectively, while Pixelate and Refrigerate turns these attacks into fairy and ice respectively. Normalize, on the other hand, turns all of Skitty's and Delcatty's attacks into normal, while Liquid Voice turns Poplio's, Brionne's, and Primarina's sound-based attacks into water ones. Damp is an ability that prevents self-destruction. This includes moves like Mind Blown, Self-Destruct, and of course Explosion. But Infiltrator allows attacks to bypass barriers, substitution, and screens. Next, Magic Bounce reflects all status changing moves if the user gets hit by one. Similarly, Dancer works in the same way, but for dancing like attacks. Mirror Armor is very similar, reflecting stat lowering moves onto the opponent's Pokemon, and Espathra Opportunist ability changes its stat boost based on the stat boost of the opposing Pokemon. Suction Cup states that you cannot be forced to switch out under any circumstances, but Magnet Pull traps Steel-type Pokemon, while Shadow Tag and Arena Trap prevents any Pokemon from escaping. However, Ghosts are immune to Shadow Tag. Serene Grace promotes the additional effects of a Pokemon's attack, while Shield Dust, on the other hand, prevents these added effects. And finally, Sheer Force removes these added effects, but increases the move's damage. Lingering Aroma and Wandering Spirit allows Oinkologne or Galarian Yamask to get rid of their abilities and replace it with either Lingering Aroma or Wandering Spirit. Mummy works the same way, but for the Unnovan Yamask line. Power of Alchemy has the power and allows Alolan Grimer in Alolan Muck to copy the defeated ally's ability. Receiver does the same, as the only difference is it's on Passimian. And Trace is an ability that copies that of an opposing Pokemon. Imposter allows Ditto to transform into any Pokemon it's facing, while Neutralizing Gas allows any member of the Coughing line to get rid of the opposing Pokemon's ability. And finally, we have As One, which is actually two abilities in one, being Unnerve and either Grim Neigh or Chilling Neigh. This depends on the type of Calyrex form. Effect Spore is an ability that may cause the opponent to either become poisoned, paralyzed, or fall asleep. But in the case of Flame Body or Static, the attacker is either burned or paralyzed respectively. But Toxic Chain takes it a step further because the ability passes a bad poison onto the Pokemon that attacked it. Speaking of poison, Corrosion allows for the Pokemon with this ability access to poison steel types, even though steel is immune to poison. Next, Petron's Poison Puppeteer causes confusion in addition to the normal poison effect from its moves. Moving on from poison, Q-Charm is an ability that causes infatuation to the Pokemon that it's targeting. Curse Body works in a similar way, except now with Curse Body, the move is now disabled instead of the Pokemon being infatuated. While Stench has the ability to flinch opposing Pokemon when they attack it, and Bad Dreams damages opposing Pokemon that are asleep. Finally, with Synchronize, well, it just passes along these status ailments. There are 4 types of terrain setting abilities, each one of them corresponding with a type. Grassy Surge turns the battlefield into grassy terrain. Misty Surge turns the battlefield into a misty terrain. Psychic Surge turns the battlefield into a psychic terrain. And Electric Surge turns the ground into electric terrain. The grassy terrain affects the ability Grass Pelt as it boosts the defense of any Pokemon within this terrain, while Surge Surfer doubles the Pokemon's speed in an electric terrain. Cork Drive is another ability that works in the electric terrain, as it's exclusive for future Paradox forms. And this ability allows for their most proficient stat to get boosted. This ability also works if the Pokemon is holding the item Booster Energy. But Hadron Engine boosts Miraidon's special attack if it's in this terrain. And this ability also activates this terrain as well. Finally, Mimicry changes the type of Galarian Stunfisk depending on the type of terrain. Drizzle and Drought are 2 tandem abilities that either Kyogre or Groudon set out the rain or the sun respectively. Primordial Sea and Desolate Land, however, take these abilities up a notch, as they are basically the same as they provide rain and sunlight respectively, but they also completely nullify the opposite type. Airlock and Cloud 9, however, eliminates the effects of weather, while Delta Stream is practically the same, however it eliminates all flying type weaknesses. Snow Warning, on the other hand, makes it hail when it enters a battle, while Slush Rush boosts a Pokemon's speed stat, and Snow Cloak boosts a Pokemon's evasion. Next, Sandstream summons a Sandstorm. This powers up Sand Force, which increases rock, steel, and ground moves, while Sand Rush boosts a Pokemon's speed, and Sand Veil raises evasion. Moving back into the sun, we've got Chlorophyll, which raises a Pokemon's speed, while Solar Power raises special attack but lowers HP. Orichalcum Pulse, which is Koraidon's signature ability, turns the battlefield sunny while also boosting its attack. Then we have Photosynthesis, which is the signature ability of all the past Paradox Pokemon. And this ability boosts their most proficient stat. Booster Energy also works on this ability too, by the way. Switching back to the rain, Hydration heals all status moves. In addition, Swift Swim raises your speed in the rain. Then we have Overcoat, which just provides a protection from all these status conditions. And last but not least, we have Terraform Zero, which states that when Terapagos changes into its stellar form, it uses its powers to eliminate all effects of the weather, reducing them to 0. Terra Volt and Turbo Blaze are both the same ability, as they allow either Reshiram or Zekrom to attack with moves regardless of the opposing Pokemon's ability. Next, Mold Breaker is an ability that allows Pokemon to use moves regardless of the opposing Pokemon's ability, while No Guard ensures that the Pokemon's attacks always land, regardless of the accuracy. Propeller Tail and Stalwart are abilities that ignore the effects of the opposing Pokemon's abilities, but only the ones that draw in moves. Meanwhile, the Scrappy ability enables Pokemon to hit ghost types with either normal or fighting type moves. Next, Screen Cleaner is an ability that shuts down the effects of Light Screen, Reflect, and Aurora Veil for both it and its opposing ally. Mycelium Mite slows down Toedscool and Toedscruel when using status moves, but these moves ignore the opposing Pokemon's abilities. Next we have Unaware, which just ignores all of the opposing Pokemon's stat changes. And finally, the Pokemon with the Frisk ability allows them to check the opposing Pokemon's held item. Rockhead protects the Pokemon from recoil damage moves. Insomnia and Vital Spirit, on the other hand, prevents Pokemon from falling asleep, while Limber prevents paralysis. And Inner Focus prevents flinching or being affected by Intimidate. But Magma Armor prevents freezing, and Oblivious prevents infatuation, intimidation, or falling for taunts. Dazzling allows for Bruxish to be protected from all priority moves, while Own Tempo also prevents intimidation, but also prevents confusion. Immunity prevents poison, and Water Veil prevents burn. Good as Gold just allows Goldango to be immune to all status type attacks, while Leaf Guard prevents status moves, but only if it's sunny, and Queenly Majesty allows Serena to pressure its opponents, preventing them from using priority attacks. Forewarned states when a Pokemon enters a battle, they can tell one of the opposing Pokemon's moves. Anticipation works the same, but it anticipates the opposing Pokemon's most dangerous move. Armor Tail is a signature ability of Farigiraf, in which allows this Pokemon to protect itself and its allies against priority attacks. Telepathy is an ability that allows the anticipation of an ally's attack and dodges it. Aroma Veil, on the other hand, is an ability that protects its allies from attacks that limit their move choice. But Flower Gift powers up all party Pokemon in the sun, while Friend Guard just flat out reduces the damage done to allies. Healer is a similar ability that just heals its allies, while Symbiosis allows for an item to be passed to an ally. The ability Plus and Minus power each other up, while Sweet Veil prevents itself and its allies from just falling asleep, while Power Spot just allows Stonejourner to power up all of its allies' attacks. But Steely Spirit, which is a signature ability of Charjabug, powers up all allies' special moves. Speaking of signature ability, we have Flamigo's Co-Star, which copies all of the allies' stat changes when it enters in a battle. Continuing with this signature abilities trend, we've got Commander, which allows Tatsugiri to jump inside the mouth of a Dondozo. Pastel Veil allows for Galarian Ponyta and Rapidash to protect its allies from being poisoned. And finally we have Victory Star, which allows Victini and all of its allies to have a boost in accuracy. Kicking off this list with Battle Bond, this ability states that after defeating a Pokemon, Greninja would turn into Ash Greninja. Now this ability has gotten nerfed because Greninja now only gets an attack, special attack, and speed buff, not the new Ash Greninja form. Color Change, meanwhile, is Kecleon's signature ability that changes its type depending on the move that it was last hit with. Meanwhile, the Forecast ability changes the form of cast form depending on the weather. Ditto's signature ability of Illusion allows it to change it to any Pokemon that it's facing. And Shields Down, which is Minio's signature ability, provides a form change as it becomes more aggressive and loses its HP. But Stance Change, the signature ghost type ability of Aegislash, allows a change between its attack form and its defense form when Aegislash goes for the move King's Shield. Disguise is another ghost type signature ability, but this time it's Mimikyu's. This ability allows Mimikyu to kind of get a little substitution for the first turn of each battle. Cramorant is another Pokemon with a signature ability, but this one is in the form of Gulp Missile. But this allows Cramorant to either find an Arrokuda or Pikachu nearby to fire off and deal some extra damage. Speaking of signature abilities, we have Morpeko's Hunger Switch, which allows Morpeko to turn into either its full belly mode or its hangry mode. Meanwhile, the ability Ice Face provides a protection to Ice-Q to all physical attacks. But Multi-Type and RKS System are two abilities that change the form and type of Silvally and Arceus, depending on which type of play or memory they hold. Meanwhile, Power Construct allows for Zygarde to turn into 100% form when its HP drops below half. Another legendary's ability that does a similar thing is Terra Shift. This allows Terrapagos to transform into its terrestrial form when it enters into battle. Schooling is also a similar ability, but instead allows for Wishiwashi to gain a huge boost and a new form in battle. Zen Mode is also a similar ability that gives both Darmanitans, Unova and Galarian, a new signature form while adding an additional typing. Similarly, both the Scorbunny, the Froakie, and the Sprigatito line have a very similar ability in the form of either Libero or Protean. These ability changes the Pokemon's type to whatever move type was used before. This ability was kind of broken, which explains why it got nerfed, now explaining that a Pokemon can only change its type one time when it enters the battle. And finally, when Palafin switches out, it activates its Zero to Hero form, turning from a normal citizen to a full-fledged superhero. First, we have Aftermath, which does damage to the foe after a Pokemon gets killed, but Iron Barbs and Rough Skin, on the other hand, just flat out deal damage to the attacker. The Long Reach ability provides the Rowlet line to use attacks without making direct contact with the opponent, while Corsola's signature ability of Perish Body allows for the attacker to faint within 3 turns of the initial contact. Pickpocket is an ability that allows for Pokemon to steal another Pokemon's held item after it's attacked. Next, Tough Claws is an ability that powers up moves that make direct contact, while Anger Point enables the Pokemon to raise its attack, but only after it's been hit by a critical hit. Similarly, Berserk raises a Pokemon's special attack when its HP drops below half. Steam Engine, on the other hand, boosts Roly-Coly's speed, but only when it's hit with a water or fire type move. Next, we have Innards Out, which is Pyukumuku's signature ability that allows it to deal damage equal to the amount of HP it had before it was hit. Adding on to the signature abilities, we've got Sandspit, which is exclusive to the Silicobra line, where Silicobra summons a sandstorm, while Seed Sower is a similar ability, but it's Arboliva's and it summons a grassy terrain. Similarly, Thermal Exchange boosts the attack of all the members of the Frigibax line, but only if it's hit by a fire type move. Toxic Debris is another signature ability that scatters toxic spikes whenever Glammet or Glamora gets hit. Wind Power is Wattrel and Kilowattrel's signature ability that allows for the next electric type move to be boosted. While Justified is not a signature ability, but it does raise its attack when it's hit by a dark type move. Rattled is another ability with a similar effect, but this time it's with dark, ghost, or bug type moves, and it's raising its speed stat, not just attack. Stamina is an ability that works similarly, but the defense is raised, while Tangled Feet raises the evasion if the user Pokemon is confused. But the ability Super Sweet Syrup allows for the rising of any Pokemon's evasiveness. And last but not least, we have Liquid Ooze, which states that HP draining moves cause injury instead of, well, restoring the HP. Curious Medicine states that when Galarian Slowpoke enters a battle, it scatters medicine from its shell, which removes all stat changes from its allies. Early Bird allows a Pokemon to wake up faster than normal. Natural Cure heals all status conditions when switching out, while Shed Skin just heals its own status. Dry Skin reduces HP in the sun but heals you in the water, while Earth Ether that allows Orpharm to restore some HP if hit by a ground type attack. But Cheek Pouch is an ability that restores the amount of HP in addition to its berry. When entering in a battle, the Hospitality ability allows Poltergeist to heal any ally's HP. Ice Body, on the other hand, allows for Pokemon to regain health, but only if it's snowing outside, while Rain Dish allows for a slight HP gain in the rain. Then there's Poison Heal, Volt Absorb, and Water Absorb, which gives HP when poisoned, hit by an electric type move, or hit by a water move. And finally there's Regenerator, which allows just a little HP to be restored when withdrawn from a battle. Illuminate is an ability that prevents your accuracy from being lowered, while Big Pex is an ability that prevents the Pokemon from having its defense lowered, but Hyper Cutter, on the other hand, prevents attack reduction. There is also Keen Eye, which prevents accuracy loss, and White Smoke, which prevents ability reduction, while the Clear Body ability prevents stat reduction entirely, no matter what stat it is. Solgalio's signature ability of Full Metal Body does the same thing. Flower Veil, on the other hand, prevents the lowering of stats of any Grass-type Pokemon. Finally, there is Mind's Eye, which allows Blood Moon Ursaluna to ignore opponents' accuracy changes, and allows the use of normal and fighting type moves to be used on ghost types. Magic Guard allows for Pokemon to only take damage from physical attacks, while Terra Shell states that Terapagos contains every Pokemon type, and all of its moves when it's at full HP will not be very effective. Truant says that each time a Pokemon uses a move, it spends the next turn loafing around, while Weak Armor lowers defenses but raises speed for every physical attack. But Anger Shell causes Gloff's defense and special defense to lower, but raises its attack, special attack, and speed when it's below half HP. Abilities like Battle Armor and Shell Armor are two of the same, as it protects the user from all critical hits. Speaking of lowering stats, Defeatus halves the attack and special attack of Archon and Archeops when they drop below half HP, while the Intimidate ability just lowers the opposing Pokemon's attack. Aura Break, which is a signature ability of Zygarde, allows for the effects of Aura abilities to be reversed, while Levitate provides an immunity for all ground type attacks. Lightning Rod also provides an immunity, but this time it's for electric type attacks, and it has the added effect of their special attack being boosted. Beads of Ruin, however, allows for the lowering of special defense of every Pokemon on the field besides Chi-Yu, and Sword of Ruin does the same thing for everyone else's attack besides Chien-Pao. Motor Drive is a similar ability as Lightning Rod, but provides a speed boost, while Bulletproof just protects itself from all sound-based moves, but Filter and Solid Rock reduces the damage taken from super effective attacks, while Prison Armor has the same effects, but it's an exclusive ability to all forms of Necrozma. Slow Start halves Regigigas' speed and attack by half for the first 5 turns of the battle. Ice Scales allows Snom and Frostmoth to only take half damage from special attacks, while Marvel Scale ups the Pokemon's defenses if they have a status problem. Flash Fire, on the other hand, makes fire types immune to other fire type attacks, but also powers them up if hit by one. Lightning Rod also does a similar thing, in which it draws electric type moves in, providing an immunity, but also granting a special attack boost if hit by one. Meanwhile, Fluffy halves the damage taken by any physical damage attack, but doubles if that physical damage is a fire one. Fur Coat works the same way, just without the extra fire damage. Light Metal, on the other hand, halves the Pokemon's weight, which affects moves like Heavy Slam, but Heat Proof is an ability that halves the damage taken from fire type attacks, while Sap Sipper provides a grass type immunity and an attack buff. Similarly, Storm Drain provides an immunity for water-type moves, as well as a boost in special attack. But Multiscale allows for Pokemon to take half damage from all attacks if its HP is at full. Also, Shadow Shield works in the same way, but it's Lunala's signature ability, while Thick Fat halves the damage taken from ice and fire type attacks. Purifying Salt is similar in that it halves the damage from ghost type attacks, but in addition it also provides any member of the Nacli line from getting statused. Water Bubble is also a similar ability as it lowers the effects of fire type attacks while also preventing it from being burned. Well-Baked Body, on the other hand, provides a fire-type immunity while also giving Dashbun a defense boost if hit by a fire attack. The ability Wind Rider provides an immunity to all wind-type attacks, but also provides an attack boost if in a tailwind. Tablets of Ruin, on the other hand, just flat-out lowers any attacks, while Vessel of Ruin just lowers any Pokemon special attack beside itself, while Cotton Down lowers all Pokemon speed when it's hit. Sturdy is an ability that prevents the knocking out of a user by a single hit. Gooey and Tingling Hair, on the other hand, allows for the attacker's speed stat to drop. And finally, we have the signature ability of Shedinja, otherwise known as Wonder Guard, which allows super effective attacks to hit and every other attack is immune, while Wonder Skin makes status moves more likely to miss. Parental Bond states that a parent and a child attacks one after another. Skill Link maximizes the number of times multi-strike moves hit. Quick Feet allows for a boost in speed when suffering from a status, while Water Compaction raises a Pokemon's defense when it's hit by a water-type attack. Then Sheer Force removes these added effects but increases the move's damage, while Contrary just flips around stat changes to where they have the opposite effect, while Simple just simply doubles them. Punk Rock is an ability that boosts all of Toxtricity's sound-based attacks, in addition to only taking half damage from them. Unseen Fist states that if Urshifu uses moves that make direct contact, it could attack even if the target is protected. Neuroforce powers up all of Ultra Necrozma's super effective attacks, while Comatose states that Komala is always in a state of sleep, and because of that, it could attack while it's asleep. Merciless explains that Marini and Toxapex's attacks become critical hit if the target's poisoned, while Tinted Lens states that when the Pokemon with this ability uses a not very effective attack, moves deal regular damage instead of not very effective. Sniper is an ability that states if the Pokemon's attack is a critical hit, that attack is powered up even further. Then we have Marvel Scale, which boosts a Pokemon's defenses if they're suffering from a status condition. Meanwhile, Compound Eyes raises accuracy. Speed Boost raises the speed stat of a Pokemon after every single turn, while Adaptability powers up moves of the same type, while Analytic boosts move power if the Pokemon is last to attack on any given turn, while Chilling Neigh and Grim Neigh boost either attack or special attack for Glastier or Spectrier respectively. Meanwhile, we have Moody, which raises a random stat, however it also lowers a random stat. But Competitive boosts a Pokemon's special attack whenever any of their stats are lowered. But the ability Defiant states that a Pokemon gains an attack boost, but only when a stat is lowered. Moxie is an ability that boosts the attacking stat after every knockout. Soul Heart, on the other hand, is a similar ability as it boosts special attack after every knockout. Dragon's Maw powers up all of Regidrago's dragon type moves, while Blaze, Torrent, Overgrow, and Swarm powers up fire, water, grass, and bug moves respectively, when the Pokemon's HP is low. But Flare Boost powers up all special attacks when Drifloon or Driflim gets burned. With the ability Embody aspect, Ogerpon raises either its speed, special defense, attack, or defense depending on the type of mask it's wearing. Iron Fist, on the other hand, powers up all the Pokemon's punching-like attacks. Mega Launcher, meanwhile, powers up all Aura and Pulse moves, while Strong Jaw boosts the power of biting type moves, and the ability Guard Dog boosts attack if the Pokemon is intimidated, while Reckless powers up all the moves that have recoil damage. But Rivalry raises the Pokemon's damage output if they are the same gender, but decreases the output if the opposing Pokemon is the same gender. Rocky Payload is a signature ability of Bombardier, and it powers up all of its rock-type moves, while Super Luck boosts a Pokemon's critical hit chance. In addition, the ability Steadfast raises the speed of a Pokemon every time it's flinched, while Sharpness powers up all slicing moves. And Stakeout allows for moves to do double the damage on a target that's just been switched in. The signature ability of Dhelmise, aka Steelworker, powers up all of Dhelmise's Steel-type moves. Speaking of Steel, Heavy Metal is an ability that doubles the Pokemon's weight, which can influence moves like Heavy Slam, while Electromorphosis powers up Bellibolt's Electric-type moves after this Pokemon has been attacked, while Dark Aura powers up all of the Pokemon's Dark-type moves on the field. Fairy Aura also does the same thing, but obviously with the Fairy type. Then Kingambit has a signature ability in the form of Supreme Overlord, which powers up its attack and special attack for each of its fainted allies. Then we have Technician, which provides a boost in power to some of the Pokemon's weaker moves, while Download compares the opponent's defense and special defense, and whichever one is higher, then this ability raises the special attack or attacking stat accordingly. Guerrilla Tactics is an ability that provides Galarian Darmanitan an attack boost, but only limits the Pokemon to using that move it selected. So it's kind of like a choice band. Meanwhile, we have Toxic Boost, which provides Zangoose with a buff in its physical attacks, but only if it's poison. While Transistor powers up all of Regieleki's electric-type moves. Meanwhile, Guts improves overall attack when a Pokemon is suffering from a status. But then we have the Hustle ability, which boosts attack but trades it for accuracy. Meanwhile, both Huge Power and Pure Power doubles a Pokemon's attack without any consequences, while Beast Boost causes an Ultra Beast to buff their most proficient stat after a KO. Finally, the abilities Dauntless Shield or Intrepid Sword causes either Zacian or Zamazenta to get their respective buffs in either attack or defense when entering a battle. There you have it. There are all 310 abilities in the world of Pokemon, from boosting stats and item manipulation to affecting weather and terrain. If you're strategizing for competitive battles, or you're just curious about how each battle can influence your game, abilities add a rich layer of depth and strategy to your Pokemon game, making each battle unique and exciting. As you've seen throughout this video, some abilities can turn the tide of battle, while others can provide subtle yet crucial advantages. Understanding these abilities not only enhances your gameplay, but also deepens your appreciation for the intricacies of the world of Pokemon.